Alright, all you graveyard shift racers out there tonight, welcome back to Under the Radar. And this week's Stunt of the Week comes from none other than not only LA_StarFan with their stunt Project 1, but also Vegas_67776 with their stunt Funny Video. And the reason why in the world we picked the first stunt is not only because she used the James Bond adhesive to save her scalp from almost getting beheaded, but also because of the two people that she seriously hurt by tail whipping them as she used the street lamp post as a turn signal to help her get back up on the right page. And the other stunt, the reason why we picked that, well, since it was a perfectly picked bouquet of oops-a-daisies that involved her doing a foot plant on a very famous statue in Los Santos, we decided to give it a couple of little brownie points for that as well. And not to mention to pay for the trauma that she's suffering because she hasn't moved from that spot since that stunt. And that stunt was delivered last Tuesday. Yikes. But besides the months and months of therapy that girl's probably gonna need after doing a cool kickstand trick on a bike, I think it's time for us to get ready to rev our engines to check out some very interesting tracks for this week for another edition of the GTA Online Top 5 Tracks of the Week. And the first track that we have up comes from the creator Liam2000 with his track Base Wars Fort Secundo. And for those who are wondering out there, yes, we did mention this before for the tracks of the week and this death match, and thank you for reminding me, Maestro, that it is a death match. It's been revamped for next-gen consoles with all of the cool new weapons that you can use during it, which makes this map just about 10 times as dangerous as it always has been, and yeah, amplifies things to an 11 if that's possible. And the only tip of advice that we have for you fans out there is the same thing he recommends you do during this said map, and that's run and gun. That's the only way you're gonna survive, especially with those with laser Gatling guns and that Marvin the Martian pistol that they have, known as the Atomic Zapper, that will cause you to fly through the air and most likely get picked off by the helicopters that are around there. So make sure you run for your life and gun while you can, and hopefully you can come out alive on the other side. And the next track that we have up comes from the creator Jojo Mikumi Raisin, nice name by the way, with their said track GP of Angers. And this track not only got picked for this week because of the beautiful scenery that he decided to make out of the custom Los Santos airport, but also because of the fact that he included every single car across the board, including cycles that you can use during this said race. And the only tip of advice we have for you fans out there is that if you take the pit stop lane, beware, because there's a bit of a slowdown on the pit stop that if you decide to take it, it will probably cost you during this race. Even though it's a bit of a shortcut, it comes at a price. So be careful, folks. And the next track that we have up comes from the creator Vax4223 with his said track Drivers vs. Police. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you remember the last gen tracks that involved a lot of tracks that involved people getting chased by police officers, all while trying to race to the finish line, this one is no different because this 15.25 mile long track will involve you trying to run from military police and police in general, So my only tip of advice for you fans out there is to make sure you pick a car that is fast, even though that's a little, duh, but still, pick a fast car and make sure you have bulletproof tires, because you're gonna be in for a long ride if you don't, and a lot of respawning when they pop your tires, so come prepared. And the next track, or should I say deathmatch, that we have up for this week comes from the creator Pt.4 with his track GoldenEye Damn. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I said that right. He created the actual Damn from GoldenEye 007, completed with a parachute included, since they didn't have a grappling hook for this game, which I still hope for in the near future. But before I go on a grappling hook rant, folks, this comes with compact rifles. Not only that, but armor that you can use to try to protect yourself while running on the dam, and even a mule if you can reach it to run over your opponents. Yeah. And my only tip of advice I have for you fans out there who wants to take on this dam for yourselves, if you feel like you're in a situation where you do have to jump off, make sure you grab a parachute. Don't be like me and just dive off of there with no parachute doing a swan dive to the ground below, because it will cost you during this deathmatch. So yeah, grab a parachute and some armor and some health items, because you're gonna need it. And the last but not least track, or should I say once again deathmatch, comes from none other than once again Vintage099 with his said deathmatch of GoldenEye Runway. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right again. He created, and I'm still baffled by this, he created the runway level from GoldenEye. And for those who are shocked and say, DJ Smokey, is there any other maps that he did for 007 as well on here? Well, last year I do believe we did say that he created the cradle level from 007. So yeah, there is a couple of them lurking around online if you're able to find them. But back to this track here, folks, because not only it includes the tank from the level of the runway, but it also includes grenades and other cool weapons that you can use during this said map, including the plane that you can escape in during this said deathmatch. And the fact that he created this all by the dam that actually exists in Los Santos shows you something, that this guy has skills. And my only tip of advice for this said deathmatch, folks, is this: make sure at all costs you keep everybody out of that Rhino tank, because once somebody gets it, it's game over unless you use those grenades to take out the tank, which if you have friends like mine, chances are after 10 or 20 grenades, that tank should be finished. So yeah, if you can grab the tank, get some grenades, bombard it, and the match can continue as normal, but make sure you do it before they go on a kill streak, because that will cost you during this said deathmatch. And I guess with that said, folks, wraps it up for this week's edition of the GTA Online Top 5 Tracks of the Week. And I guess with that said, we might as well head back into this music, and when we return, we'll be back with the final segment for Under the Radar for this week, right after this. So don't get lost in the madness or head toward those infomercials just yet, folks, and stay tuned.